Well, you're probably wondering, why are these Tommy trains out again? Haven't I already reviewed them? Well, I have, but due to the outstanding success of some of my other, seemingly less important reviews, I'm going to come back and do a second series of videos. And what we're going to be looking at is the powers of these engines, not only in the Tommy range, but in the battery wooden range and in the Big Loader series. I'm going to be seeing which one is the fastest, the strongest, and can win in a tug of war to the death. So, to kick off this series, we're going to start with a follow-up Tomy review. And we're going to see if my two working locomotives, one which is Henry, the other one which is Thomas, which of these two very old and very well-played locomotives is going to come out on top. For these tests, each locomotive is fitted with a new battery. You can see Henry's got a new C battery in there, which you can quickly remove the cover and slowly get it back on. And now we put a new battery in Thomas, but I'm not sure whether I showed it in my other review, but look what's happened to Thomas. We can see plastic fatigue to the max here. We've got a crack right through the frame of the locomotive itself, which not only compromises the whole locomotive, it makes it really hard, despite missing this other side clip here already, to get this stupid battery cover off. I can't wait till they make the new design of these stupid toys. And when I say stupid, I mean this design here. It's just Oh, look, there we go. In trying to get this off, we've actually broken the clip. Oh, great. There you go, looks like my Thomas finally had its day, and the clip's broken off in trying to get the battery out. Anyway, moving on, let's continue with this review. So, you can see the extent of damage. We've got a split right through the whole frame, and the only thing that's holding this together is that little piece of plastic there. So I don't even know if this engine's going to last the whole review. Oh well, let's see. Now we can put Thomas's lid back on, despite the fact it's not... Oh, no, it still stays on, despite being broken. Oh dear. This is looking like it's going to be a very one-sided review. Oh well, let's see what happens. Alrighty, well it looks like to actually make Thomas into a state where we can use him in this test, I've had to wrap him with rubber bands, hoping that it's going to pull his frame together. And we won't be able to have Thomas's body on there because it doesn't fit with his rubber bands in the way. So while we have topless Thomas and hapless Henry, first let's see which one of these is the fastest. Now of course we must take into consideration that Henry weighs substantially a lot more, not only because he has a tender, but because he has a C battery in there, which weighs almost double the amount of a AA battery. Okay, Henry's on our specialized start track. 3, 2, 1. He's going round, he's going round. Alrighty. So it looks like we've got Henry coming in at 13 seconds and 96 milliseconds. Alright, so we'll make a record of that, and now we can test Thomas. Alrighty, we've got Thomas on the platform, and I'll switch him on. Ready, set, go. Alright, so we switch this back up. What's left of Thomas is going around the layout. Let's see. This is the final moment. And we'll say that's a wrap. So let's have a look at the time that Thomas had. It looks like that our friend Thomas here has come in a time of 15:35. So, unsurprisingly, Henry has been the fastest of these two engines. And this could be attributed to the fact that if we watch Henry's wheels when he's on, they spin at a very constant rate. Whereas Thomas is in his age and his state, you can tell that they sort of jerk. Alrighty, so let's move on to a test of strength. But I think this episode is going to be a no competition. As you can see, these are all the carriages I actually have from the Tommy Trackmaster range. So really, this test of strength is going to be pretty straightforward. Won't it be? Anyway, let's start with Henry. Let's see how he managed to travel around this specially designed loop with his heavy train. Right, and he's off. He doesn't seem to be struggling very much. In fact, I would say he was coping just fine. Yeah, looks like Henry's got no troubles pulling the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different trucks and coaches. Alright, so let's substitute Henry for Thomas and see how Thomas fares. But I get the feeling that somehow our rubber band blue friend might not be faring as well as he's our tank engine Thomas, so let's see him start. Oh, well that's encouraging, isn't it? We'll try that again. No. Here we go. It seems the rubber bands had an adverse effect. The rubber bands push the coupling over to this side. So I'm not sure how we're going to do this. We'll give it another try, but otherwise we're going to have to think this through. Ooh, that doesn't look very pleasant. Here, let's just try that again. I'll move these rubber bands over this way. No, hang on, I'll move them over the buffers. There we go. As you can see, there's a little bit more wiggle room now. I can sort of move them just there a little bit. There you go. Let's try that again. Okay, here we go. Okay, take 3. Well, looks like Thomas isn't going to win this competition anytime soon. But if he can't pull 6, how many can he pull? Well, let's find out. Alrighty, now we're trying with 3 carriages instead. Okay, well, what's left of Thomas can pull 3 carriages. This is far shy of what a new engine, or even Thomas could in his heyday, pull. A bit depressing, really. As I said at the start of this video, I thought that after discovering the cracks in Thomas's body, that this might end up being a bit of a obvious winner. And so far it's seeming that way. But nevertheless, let's have a go at a tug of... Okay, well you can clearly see that I've used rubber bands this time to join the 2 locomotives together. Unlike in the wind-up review, where I decided to use a paperclip instead. Now, we're going to try and line this up because of different lengths of the engine, so they've got the same-ish amount of distance to travel. Alrighty, so as you can see, although the engines are sort of out of line, the tips are at the same point. There's about the same distance here as there is here. And so I'm going to switch both engines on and see which engine can get the furthest. Alrighty, I'm going to have to pull the camera back so we can get this entire scene in this shot. Now it's time to switch the 2 engines on. Ready, set, go! Well, that was strange. Hang on. Let's have another look at that again. It seemed that the Henry locomotive, under the stress, just stopped, and his gears disengaged, whereas we had Thomas, who continued to pull along. Alrighty. Maybe this Thomas isn't completely useless after all. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so the first was a tie, and then we had Henry win. So let's try the third one. It does seem to be, though, the way this works is Henry needs to get some grip before he can actually move anywhere. But once he does that, he can win. Otherwise, he's not so successful. Well, I think that's a definitive answer, don't you? It seems that over all these 3 tests, Henry, despite being larger and heavier in the strength test and the speed test, has beaten the battered old Thomas. I mean, if you can't already tell that by his body shell, you can most certainly tell by the cracks that have now appeared on his side. And so I think we can say a definitive thing that the strongest out of these 2 engines, certainly, is Henry. However, this is a very small selection, 2 of the vast amount of Trackmaster engines that are on the market. And of course, these engines would be heading on 10 years old. So what are your results? Which one of your engines is the fastest, the strongest, and can beat all the others in a tug of war? And have you seen any of these kind of cracking problems through your older design Trackmaster or TOMY engines? So, we can obviously see that Henry's won this first round, but in the next round of this review, we'll be retesting some of our other most favourite toys, and those will be the big loaders. That's all we've got time for now. Bye from TrainzXtreme.